I'm an alcoholic and addict named Patrick.
Patrick.
How are y'all doing tonight? Everybody good?
Good.
Yeah, thank you. This guy, yes, met him like 6 years ago in treatment, just like this, and it is crazy that we still are friends and we're still in treatment, working, but we're still in treatment, you know? I got to treat this disease every day. I'll date it back. I kind of didn't know what angle I was going to go at. That's me being consumed with self. You know, how am I going to deliver this? But I'm just going to let it ride, all right? So, I come from Richmond, Virginia. Mom and dad, what I thought a great upbringing. I didn't realize how distorted I was in my way of thinking. Blue-collared, you know, work hard, play hard kind of individuals. I had two older brothers as well. Big part of my story and where my beliefs changed through dealing with my family. You know, teaching me right from wrong, but at the same time, a lot of actions telling me different, showing me, you know, even as far as being told to believe in God, but yet my father's going out and going to a bar and telling me to be honest, but you can tell he's messing around with other women. Don't tell your mom this. My mom actually walking on eggshells because my dad's an alcoholic, or was an alcoholic, a functioning alcoholic, caused a lot of turmoil within the household at all times. Everybody had to walk on eggshells. He worked shift work for DuPont, which you don't know what that is, but being that he worked on shift work, like each shift he worked, it was like a different side to our family and how we carried ourselves. He was very verbally abusive, just that dominant man, you know, taking me into bars at 8 years old. My middle brother, it's important for me to say, used to beat the shit out of me every day until I was about 12 years old. It was kind of that ripple effect of that abuse within the family. Kind of went down the line. You know, my dad would take out anger on my oldest brother. My oldest brother would take out anger on my middle brother, and who I'm here to catch the end, you know. So I didn't allow people to disrespect me, right? Somebody talked slick, somebody thought they were going to get over on me. I wouldn't allow that. I'd break their face. And I used to say that a lot. I was very angry when I came into this 6 years ago when I met him, not realizing how angry I was because I thought I was the nice one out of all these dominant men in my life. I started using at 8 years old. I started smoking reefer. My brother sold reefer. I didn't want to become an alcoholic like my father, like my grandfather, my uncle, my cousin. So I'm just going to smoke reefer, right? I smoked marijuana every day at 8 years old. I remember sitting in dare class like these fucks don't know what they're talking about in elementary school. So my progression, at about 12 years old, I started dabbling in other drugs. Being that I had two older brothers, their friends, people we knew, my good friends also had older brothers, so drugs was always at reach. I started doing acid, cocaine at roughly 12 years old, 13 doing a little bit of meth, but I had all that stuff under control. Even though looking back, I see the patterns in the progression, it was happening quick. But in my mind, I had control of that shit. By the time I was 14, 15, riding around with my brother, drinking every night, alcohol started taking over. By the time I was 19, I was a full-blown, well, really 16, 17, I was a full-blown alcoholic. Fighting all the time and just didn't care. I didn't realize how disconnected I was. My beliefs stemming from my beliefs and not allowing people just to talk to me any other way. I just didn't care. If you stood in my way, I was going to do what it took to get what I wanted, how I wanted. School, one of my biggest resentments is school and how I went through school without ever failing a class. Now, and I was sitting in a meeting the other day and I'm looking at my entitlement, right? I never really looked at as that kid in Toys R Us as being me, because I wasn't allowed to act as a kid. My innocence was taken in that kind of way. Being around these dominant men, I had to know. I had to act as if and carry myself. Couldn't show no emotion. Really couldn't show no joy. Looking back, I had to act as if. So I look at entitlement and how it, with school, like getting away with what I got away with, shouldn't have happened. I skipped 187 days in a 2-year period. How does that even happen and never get in trouble for it? I just did what I wanted. Football, I was great at. Thought I was too good to practice, so therefore by the time 12 years old, again, my progression of drugs was starting to happen. Women came into play at that time as well. I was too good to go to practice. Who needs that shit, right? Women, big part of my story. First girl I got pregnant was at 12 years old. I tried to block and minimize that. She was a military girl. Her dad was in the military, so they kind of like tucked her away in the hills of South Carolina, and I never really got an answer for that. That's a bridge I have to burn at some point in my life. I should probably look into that. I'm not really ready. But that was like a pattern. So like in that 12 years old, my father, I had this childhood sweetheart. My father kind of told me, I got my heart broken, my 2 brothers and my dad, we were all sitting there, and they knew something was wrong with me. I was off, right? I got my heart broke. So my brothers were like, what happened? I explained that I got my little heart broke, and my dad, and sorry if this offends anyone, but this is what happened. Fuck them all. Work hard, make money, right? So like right then, I was taught to cut off that emotion. Don't worry about a woman. And in all turn, it made me disconnect from everyone and everybody. So I carried myself that way for a long time. I did what I wanted, how I wanted, and I didn't care who was destroying or affecting me. I mean, affecting them. In turn, was affecting me. So anyway, by the time I'm 19, I become a diabetic. And when I became a diabetic, right before that, I was starting to dabble with heroin. Again, I had a firm belief within self that I did drugs. Drugs didn't do me. I was an arrogant guy, egotistical. So me dabbling with heroin, just snorting it, I'm good. I could do it once in a blue moon, just like I did cocaine, meth, all that stuff, acid. So I didn't have no problem with that, right? It was alcohol at that point in my life was taking over. I was getting arrested every other week. But as long as it was alcohol within my family, who my father drank all the time, all family functions, there was always alcohol, always had a drink in their hands. So alcohol, getting locked up, that was not a problem, right? Bond them out, do whatever, face your consequences, move on with life. At 18, 19, I was first told to come into these rooms, court ordered, and like I thought the IOP setting was just a money racket through the courts, right? Like this is all bullshit, right? IOP treatment, it's all money scheme. I didn't want to look and see that I was a fuck up, and my way of thinking sucked, and I was alcoholic and an addict. But I had people above me, like my father, like telling me that, like, therapy's bullshit. All that IOP is just a money racket through the courts and all that shit. So I carried, their words carried a lot of weight to me. So I believed they were my role models, right? I'm not getting into a lot of my stories, but there's a lot of fuckery in my story, and I just don't think that's proper for y'all to know all of it. um. Anyway, so I become a diabetic. I have to stab myself with the needle. I get out, and one of my good friends that we started shooting heroin together, he walks out of the bathroom. He's so much higher than me, and if I'm gonna do something, I want to do it right? I just did a bag of dope, and I want as high as him coming out of the bathroom. So, of course, what did I do? I started shooting heroin, but not only heroin, all those drugs that I mentioned before started going into a needle as well. So I was addicted to that needle. I was addicted to that rush. I always worked, always enjoyed work and working hard. Like, it was ingrained in me to do that. So like, yeah, come to find out, it was just another distraction for me. Within a few years, I was part owner in a business with my brother that like quickly crumbled. I couldn't work with him. Not seeing a lot of my actions at the time, even though there was a lot of the same one that just would beat the fuck out of me every day till I was 12. So him and I couldn't just meet eye to eye, so I quit working with him. Things started to quickly crumble. I ended up writing bad checks because of my use of heroin. That, I was a speed user all day, and that's what I did. I used to fucking live. Like, it didn't matter. I was doing what I wanted, how I wanted, right? I didn't care who stood in my way. I was going to rob or steal. I've done things. I've been fortunate. I haven't gotten caught for robbing people at ATMs, kicking in dope men doors. Like, I didn't care. I was the white guy that would walk right through the city of Richmond with no fucks given. Like, if you stood in my way, I was going to fuck you up and take what I wanted. And a big part of me, I'm like fortunate now that I look back that I was conditioned and hardened to be that person. I didn't look at it like this for a long time, but then after writing bad checks, I went to prison. Me going to prison, I look at it now as a blessing. My higher power kind of had to cripple my legs, for me to sit still, kind of like some of y'all sitting here today. Check you up, maybe get a moment of clarity. It's on you how you want to direct that. So I go to prison, and I actually had the option to get out and do drug court when I first got locked up, because I'm like looking at them, I'm like, I'm a raging drug addict, I need help. So they get me out after like 3 months. I'm in drug court for 3 days. I get terminated and have to go and do my sentence, which when I first was sitting in courts, I had 67 years I was facing. My knees buckled when I was told that. And I went back to jail and to the cell, and I was able to call my dad. My dad at the time, again, his words carried a lot of weight. After bitching at me for a while on the phone, he then told me, "This too shall pass." And he was right. Those words held and helped me through a lot of things in my life. And I know I hear it a lot today in the rooms, and I say it a lot to y'all because it will. This too shall pass. That's the good and the bad, that feeling. It's okay not to be okay, right? Anyway, so I get out, And I go, my best friend, I'm with my mom. She like picked me up. I had to go. That was one of the stipulations. I had to go back to my parents' house. And so I'm living with them, which sucks, right? Got to be there. I'm with my mom at the grocery store helping her get some things. My best friend calls, wants me to come out. I'm only out for 3 days. My mom's like bitching at my best friend, keep him safe, don't let him do nothing stupid. And my best intentions, right? I'm not going to do shit. I could go to prison for all this time. I go out, we go to have a little get together at a friend's house. Next thing you know, these fucking women, beautiful woman comes in, and next thing you know, no fucks given. I end up drinking. The next day, the next morning, girl's still in the bed, cop knocks on the door. I think it's my brother. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And he's like, hey, this is the cop from drug court. I'm like, oh shit. So I have to get the girl out. She goes downstairs with my fucking parents. And I don't know why she did that, but she could have just fucking left, right? But my mom had to eventually tell her, you know you can get the fuck out of here. Like, the cops. So anyway, I got locked up and I had to serve my first time 2 years. Going in to jail and getting ready to serve that sentence, I went into a therapeutic community, which is basically what this is in a lot of ways. And I went in for all the wrong reasons. They had a ping pong table. I could I became really good at ping pong. You know, they had a lot of different things. They had a little more privilege being in jail. Anyway, so I became assistant coordinator in there. And the reason I did that, and I didn't look at it at the time, but I was finessing and manipulating and doing what I want to do, how I want to do it. Because now I'm in jail, I'm in a therapeutic community, I'm an assistant coordinator within this program, which we governed ourselves, as you could say. So like, I'm running the show in there, what I think. I'm getting dope mailed into the jail in a therapeutic community, shooting dope. And with a friend that we used to run the streets together, him as well. I didn't see these things for a long time of me trying to run the show and what I was doing to manipulate. But again, that powerlessness of me and my life and my unmanageability. So I get out of jail, let's fast forward. I get out of jail, and these beliefs, these fucking actions that I'm carrying, like, I'm just reckless in everything I do. Within 6 months, 5 months of me getting out, I'm drinking with my brother. I end up getting a malicious wounded charge. I get locked right back up. I was fortunate I got to get that dropped. I had good lawyers as well. Was out for another fucking 4 months. I got my son's mother pregnant in this period of time. So altogether, I was out 9 months, and then I was going right back to prison for possession of firearms while being a convicted felon. Mandatory minimum 2 years. Attached to grand larcenies involved in that. That was a 2.5 year sentence. So I'm back in prison, always questioning why am I doing what I'm doing, what is wrong with me, why can't I get this shit straight? Because I can't have moments of me doing what I'm supposed to do, holding on to the American dream of the wife and the kids and building my life. I can do that shit, and I've had very little moments of it, but never was right with self. Something was always off. I didn't understand what was off, but it was that disconnect, which led me to isolate and do things, that unmanageability in my life. So I didn't realize, and I had people around me like trying to hand me this fucking big book, right? And I'd look back from the time I was 17 and people trying to give me that big book and that solution, and I wouldn't do it because I was arrogant and I was stuck in my way. So I get out of prison, I go through, and the next couple years, like there's another period where I got locked up for another year. When I did go in for that sentence, my son was born. I remember being smacked. That was like the one time I felt any kind of connection in my life. I was on the phone. My son was born, and he was born not breathing. Like there were some complications where her bowel broke, something broke, and bowel. He was swallowing it, so his heart was stopped, lungs, and all that shit. Anyway, when my mom told me that shit on the phone, like, my heart was crushed. I didn't understand how I could love something so much without not even holding them. I didn't think I could love. I didn't know I had that capability. So that like this guy was standing there and he saw me on the phone fucking crying and he called me a pussy, a bitch, all that good stuff. I'm sitting in jail. Sorry if those words offend you. So what do? I do what I do best. I beat the fuck out of this guy with the phone. I end up in the hole, and that's like a pattern for me, you know, to act out in that anger. I didn't know how to feel those emotions, didn't know how to sit with it and process it and talk about it. It wasn't me. I went from 0 to 100 real quick. Anyway, fast forward, a lot more fuckery. I get out and I meet this beautiful girl, right? She's the fucking one. She's responsible, she's beautiful, all these guys want her. I want her, but I want her for all the wrong reasons at first. But I do see that maybe this is her, right? This is the one I need to be with. Again, she's responsible, she's beautiful, she takes care of her shit, so I'm gonna marry this one. That's what I need to keep me straight, the American dream. That's false, by the way. I get in this relationship, I'm lying, I'm cheating, I'm going to the bars every night, I'm trying to stay clean. I work hard in this period of time. I start a business with my best friend, his brother, which is what is now a multi-million-dollar company. When I came down here, like almost 7 years ago, whenever it was, that's what I was doing. I was, you know, running a business, help run a business. I was making really good money. Getting ready to buy a beautiful house, a lot of land, had money in the bank, but none of that mattered. It did not matter. You would think those are the things in life that would keep you straight, right? Not for this guy. Like, again, I was still broken, irritable, shame, guilt, whatever the reason. I didn't realize my actions that I was acting out on, things I was acting out on were causing all those shame and guilt. Like, because watching my life and the progression and that entitlement, I thought I was supposed to have that beautiful place and all these things, paint this beautiful picture, going out in a bar, messing around with other women, treating people just like pieces of shit. I thought I was a good guy, but again, I look back and I was not how I carried myself at all. And not realizing that ripple effect and that effect on myself. So anyway, I come down here. Easter is what it was, right? It was Easter. And I'm at home, I'm at this family function, and like by this point, I'm strung the fuck out. And everybody at my family can see it. So after Easter dinner, the next morning, they have this family intervention on me. Like my cousin, who's an alcoholic, my oldest brother that's on pain management, my other brother who's strung out on meth and is still active in his addiction, and then my mom, who's just like the sweetheart that's fucked up in her own way, but She's a good lady that don't drink, don't do drugs. Anyway, they have this intervention on me, and like I know at this point I'm either getting ready to die, which has happened several times, or I'm going to go back and be buried in the penitentiary. Again, I'm still asking myself, why am I destroying myself and everyone around me? Why do I never feel right? Why am I always irritable and discontent unless I get a drink or a drug in me? Didn't know the answers. Why can't I love? That question too. Like I had so many unanswered questions for myself and I couldn't figure it out. So send me down here to Tampa, Florida, a place called River Oaks. That's where I meet this dickhead right here. And I thought I was done, right? Willingly, I came down here. I see, and I'm trying to accept my issue. I'm not going back, or at first I didn't know if I was going to go back. We were on the fence, both of us, really. I ended up listening, and they were talking about West Palm Beach, and that sounds inviting. I had that fiance. She was still sticking by me. What is that, your cell phone?
Okay,
Oh.
sorry.
What the fuck? Where? So, like, I make the decision to come over in West Palm Beach and go to a IOP. Not fully all in, right? Because I'm arrogant and I think I know, I think I can pick and choose how I'm going to do this to make it work for me, right? Because I fucking know, just like most of y'all know, right? So I start going to IOP. I'm forced to go to meetings. I'm showing up to meetings for all the wrong reasons. Women, again. So I'm getting sponsor after sponsor. They keep dropping me because I'm not putting in the work. I'm not listening. I'm not willing. I'm not willing to let go of one thing that I have to distract me. Really two things, women and work. I jump in. By this time, I accumulated a little bit of child support. So I was going into call centers, making quick, easy money. I was also messing around with women that I knew would move away and go back home, and then they would, before Cash App, they would Western Union me money. I had it all figured out. I had my son being taken care of. I was fortunate for that from my son's mother and from my mom. Not only that, my best friend that helped me start the business, his son and my son are best friends. So my son was taken care of and still is. So I was fortunate in that kind of way. I didn't see where my actions again were causing the unmanageability in my life. A lot of fears and insecurities, because when I first came down here, I didn't have no fears and insecurities. I just could not see it. I was blind. I didn't want to put in that action, put in the work, and take the suggestions by getting a sponsor, getting a home group, and starting to do this thing. Again, I didn't really know what to speak about coming in here, but I just kind of ran through that whole story just to show that unmanageability, that powerlessness. You know, they speak on that first step and they talk about the powerlessness over the drink or the drug, and I have seen in my life that I can remove that fucking drink or drug and my life gets unmanageable real quick because I act out and do the things that I think I want to do, and that guilt and that shame starts to eat at me. And before too long, I pick up what I think is my solution, which causes things to hit the fan 100 times more, like that drink or that drug. But I'm going back through the steps, you know. I have a little bit of clean time, but I'm going back through, and I just got involved with this new sponsorship family about a month and a half ago. And this guy tells me when I go out and to get him as a sponsor, and he tells me to call him 3 times a day. I'm like, fuck you, dude. I'm not calling you 3 times a day. That's a little extra, right? But when I say fuck you, when I say I don't want to do this, I know I have to do the exact opposite. Because if I look at my record, the things I've done in my life, it's clear, it's evident. My way sucks. And I know that some of you are sitting here and y'all have success, what y'all measure as success. But I want y'all to really think about how irritable and discontent y'all are sitting in y'all's beautiful house with your beautiful kids, with your beautiful wife and husband. How irritable and discontent you are without that drink or drug. Wow. How unmanageable your life is when you're spending the money you're spending. Because it's a bigger thing to this. That fucking drink or that drug is just fucking our solution. It's our way of thinking. And my way and his way of thinking is fucked. That's a fact. We've done some stupid shit, you know? And I didn't get into the details of the fuckery, the debauchery that I've been in. Did set myself up time and time again. But I think I know best. I don't know shit. The more I think I know, the more I realize I don't know shit. And these layers continue to peel back from me. I've been doing this, like I said, 6 years, and like a big part of this for me is therapy, right? But that therapy's not gonna keep me sober. I need the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. I go to a meeting every day. I need that. I'm a diabetic. I take insulin every day. I had to accept that my alcoholism, I need untreated, I'm fucked. And I can tell it just by in one day. If I'm not calling my sponsor, if I'm not working these steps as a way of life, I am fucked. I feel off. I'm not grounded. My mind starts racing. And I go to outside sources like them women. And work and other things that will just set me back right in here. Another thing, like right now, I got like my biggest fucking concern right now in my life is good right now. The last several months, my father passed March 9th, right? My world fucking was spinning. I didn't realize it would have that much effect. Leading up to it, like a couple months before, he was put on hospice, and without even me knowing it, I was in a good place leading up to it, and then I started to try to distract myself. I started to go to those outside sources. I'm fortunate I didn't pick up, and I'm fortunate to see how unmanageable things were getting for me real quick, that I had to take that step back and get back involved in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. Because again, I can fuck some shit up real quick. That's what I do, right? So as soon as I got back, there's no coincidence, as soon as I got back involved, I started to get grounded. I started to find that peace of mind within a couple weeks. Like, there's no coincidence in that, because we again are disconnected through this process, through our lives. And as I think you start getting these connections, y'all are starting to find a little peace. Y'all are starting to find a little joy. There's no coincidence in that. We need that. And some of y'all can say, I'm an introvert. Whatever, that's not the truth. That's not the case. Like, you need connections in your lives, and it's a beautiful thing to get involved. I didn't see that for my truth at one point, but I see it now. And that reading that this young lady read, how it works, those words carry a lot of weight. You know, like, we can't practice humility. It's hard for us. We're distorted in our way of thinking. I have to smash the idea of a drink or a drug. I cannot do it, because once I fucking do it, the phenomenon of craving fucks me up. I am going to fucking rob, steal, or do whatever it takes to get what I want. Even if you eliminate that, if you are not one of my kind, think about the ripple effect and the dysfunction within your family that you're causing. And without even knowing what the fucking effect is to your family, friends, I was a selfish, consumed dude that didn't see those things. I thought I was only hurting myself, and I couldn't understand a lot. He was actually the first person I cried. I didn't cry for years, right? I get down here, start getting clean. I won't sober. There's a difference in that too. I want to make that clear. Maybe I shouldn't make it like that, but I feel like being clean is just removing that drink or drug. Me being sober is a biblical word from the Bible that means inner peace, right? It means peace. I can remove a drink or a drug and still be irritable, discontent, just an angry dick. We're living a way of life that's going to cause that shame, guilt, that irritability. And that's the way I was starting to get. That's why I knew to get my ass back in the rooms. Being down here 6 years, I think I've relapsed 6 times, 6, 7, something like that. Because I never would fully give myself to this program. I see the people that have 20, 35, whatever plus years, and they're still involved in the rooms. They're still giving back on a daily basis, meeting with sponsees. That first step, and you know, you get to really breaking down the doctor's opinion, and they see. I mean, and it's still today. Doctors have not found a cure for this, but the treatment for our disease is one alcoholic helping another, right? And the depth to that is paramount. Like, I thought I was grand to be this multi-millionaire. And again, I was always irritable and discontent, and that was right at my fingertips. You know, I could still go back to that. I don't want that. Maybe my purpose is just sit here and help one of you, you know? And I'm okay with that. I'm at peace with that. So I don't know if y'all got anything from that. I didn't go into the depths of that fuckery. I don't want y'all to judge me in any kind of way, and I'm around so y'all can get bits and pieces of a lot of the stupid shit I've done in my life. But I don't know. I hope y'all got a little something from it, and that's all I got.